cooperative.
Jordan. Hello everyone, good morning. My name is Jordan. I'm a proud Kirei Wurrung, Peak Wurrung, Wada Wurrung and Aranda man. Today we're just doing a smoking to reflect on what Sorry Day is. You know, it's one of the first times that the government of this country actually, you know, realised the wrongdoings and acknowledged it. But it's also important to remember that nothing has really been done since that day. And that's really important, that we keep the fight and we keep putting pressure on the government, on both state and federal, to make sure that there are better outcomes for our people. So make sure that we look after each other today, you know, make sure that we're all okay, and for everyone here that would be a part of this smoking to make sure that our spirit is safe. Hey Dad. So my language, I say Kimbani Badi Wathaurong Kijad Nid Jiji Bana Wat Nid Bana Wearing Nid. And that means welcome to Wathaurong country, let's walk together and learn in peace. Nyatni, thank you. So for everyone here, we come through the smoke, as I said, I'll get up more. But when you come through, right, it's just about a process of cleansing the spirit. Make sure that you're safe. This is a very, very hard day for a lot of Aboriginal people. And this process makes sure that we're safe on this country. And that's what the smoke's for, of the gum leaf. So we want to come through, we'll go through this side, Lil, you can't have this. We want to come through, you just stand, let the smoke come over you. What we do, we put it all over our head, our muruk, our arms, our buttocks, our buttocks, our legs. And that just cleanses everything. Just be careful if you have asthma. If you come through, just go through smoke. Make sure that everyone comes through. Yeah, just go one by one. We're in the line.
I've got all 4 carrots and stuff.
Yeah, we are carrots right there.
Thanks.
Nat everyone, thank you. Hope you reflect on this day, listen to these stories and listen to the powerful words of people that'll be speaking today. So Nat, thank you guys for coming through the process as well. This is what it's all about here at Wathaurong. Make sure that culture is embedded in everything that we do. And this isn't a rarity. This is an everyday practice for all of us, and we're going to try and implement that as an everyday practice here at the co-op. So like it used to. So thanks guys, and enjoy the rest of your day. I'm just going to let that.
Alright, thank you everybody. So just on behalf of Wathaurong, I've been asked to just step in and acknowledge the event today. I just want to acknowledge the Wathaurong people. I want to acknowledge the elders past, present and emerging. I want to also acknowledge the Aboriginal people that were a part of our stolen generation. This is what this event is all about. I just want to pay my respect to them as survivors of such a horrific history that Australia has. But I also want to commend them for their strength and their resilience, because they're so strong, and the elders that I've looked up to as a community member, and I'm proud to be able to stand here today and introduce them. So thank you for attending. On behalf of Wathaurong, I appreciate you guys taking the time to come here and talk to our community and our listeners online here. So thank you very much. Julia, everybody.
Okay, thanks Mick. So firstly I'd like to acknowledge the Wathaurong people, the traditional owners on the land that we meet today, and pay my respects to elders past, present and emerging, and also of course to any other Aboriginal people that are here today and tuning in online, and to all of the stolen generation survivors that join us today as well. So today we acknowledge the public apology given by the Prime Minister at the time, Mr. Kevin Rudd. The apology was made on behalf of the federal government to the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander children who were torn apart by successive Australian governments. As most of you already know, the apology was one of many recommendations made in the Bringing Them Home report. All of these recommendations were made in order to support healing and reconciliation for the stolen generations, their families and the Australian public more broadly. In keeping with that theme of healing, and after speaking with a number of different community members, we wanted to take today as an opportunity to not only reflect on the apology itself and the ongoing pain and suffering that these policies have had on the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander communities, but instead also reflect on the strength and resilience of the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander communities and their healing journeys. My colleague Judy will talk to you later about our Bringing Them Home program and what we offer to support survivors of the stolen generations and their families on their healing journeys. But for now, I would like to take the focus back to our guest speakers, who we have been lucky enough to have join us here today to have a yarn and share their truths and their journeys of healing with you. Just before I do want to share a quote that I found on the Healing Foundation's report, Make Healing Happen. The Healing Foundation was also part of the recommendations from the Bring Them Home report, so that was established as one of the recommendations. The quote is Submission 1, Voices from the Campfire. Healing to me is being able to come to terms with the trauma I've experienced throughout my life, and the fact I cannot change what has already occurred, but I can start to connect with my spiritual self and take the time I need by myself to discover what the road ahead has in store for me. So now I'd like to introduce you to Uncle Glenn Shea. Thank you, Uncle Glenn, for coming today. You can stay there. We'll just move the camera around to you.
Oh.
If you prefer.
Oh, that's all right.
Yeah.
Just, get my good side. Sorry. No. So first of all, I'd like to call on our living ancestors from the north, south, east and west to know that we're here today to continue to pay respect to country and to look after country, and know that we're not bringing any harm to country, to also recognise the pain and suffering that all our living ancestors has gone through as well. I'm really humbled to be here today, to be able to plant some seeds for you, for those who are listening out there and for those who are here, in regards to my journey. I'm not quite sure what I'm going to share with you today, because they said I could say anything I like. So that might be a bit of trouble. No, not really. But I'd like to pay my respects to, to our elders past and present, to those who have been on a similar journey as myself. And I've been thinking about this. What do you say? How do you share your story? How do you plant seeds for those who haven't been a part of our journey, to understand the issues that have impacted, my life in regards to the policies and procedures that have gone on, in Australia for the last 250 years, 175 years here in Victoria. How do we plant those seeds? So I just thought I'd share a little story in regards with an Aboriginal woman who's pregnant, and in her tummy is the formation of creation occurring. And creation occurring in regards to connection to country and connection to language, which is connected to country, connection to law, and law is everything and oversees everything, to family, which is connected to law, language, country, and ceremony. And ceremony in sharing story, songs and dances that are in the midst of creation that is occurring in the womb of the Aboriginal woman. She gives birth and creation happens. Birth, and the mother provides the totem for her newborn creation, and that totem connects the newborn to country, connects the newborn to the first seed of responsibility planted. The mother names the child, so that child has its connection to its identity, place and belonging, not only with the mother, but also in regards to the connection to country, language, law, kinship and ceremony. And for a brief moment, there is a happy existence in regards to who you are supposed to be. Who you are supposed to be, who you are as a valued member of your Aboriginal society, who you are as a human being. And then in a moment, a person representing the Aboriginal Protectorate walks into the room and disconnects you from your identity, place and belonging. Disconnects you and takes you to a place that has no semblance or resemblance of who you are meant to be. And so from being connected to them being disconnected, and then the system coming in and changing your whole identity from the identity that your birth mother has given you to their identity that connects you to their system, begins their creation of colonisation of you as a young person who is meant to be Aboriginal but is disconnected from that, and that is now a beginning process of being colonised in a Western world that connects you to Christianity and their beliefs. And this false journey that they take you on, this facade, this lie, this denial of your right to be who you are as an Aboriginal person, for me as an Aboriginal man. And that continues on until the realisation that this is not who you are meant to be. This is not who you're supposed to be. And so how do we then plant the seeds for the process of decolonisation? Decolonising ourselves so that we can re-engage in our knowledge and understanding of our connection to our identity, place and belonging from our country, from our traditional language group, from our language, from our law, from our kinship, from our ceremony, from our story, song and dance. How do we decolonise and re-engage in that? Because being a part of the colonising process and being placed on somebody else's language group who has been hit hard from the frontier wars and the very first impact of that colonisation, a community who is been decimated, who is trying to rebuild, who have many other wonderful Aboriginal people who've come from their language groups to be here to replant the seeds of a community who have been missing, and how you become a part of that, and how you become connected, and how that becomes then a part of your identity, place and belonging. And you're a connection to country, language, law, kinship and ceremony from that perspective. And being a part of that for a period of time, and then that gets taken away from you again. And that gets taken away from you again, and they say, oh, you can't be a part of that. And so the system takes that away from you again. So what is our value? What is our value? The apology in regards to, and this is only my perspective, the apology doesn't mean nothing. The apology has done nothing. It has done nothing in regards to the journey of my life, where I've been reconnecting for over 40 years, re-engaging, decolonising. You know, the very fact that they call it Apology Day, the power of language has shifted the word from apology, or shifted the word from sorry to apology, is demeaning. You know, are they really sorry in regards to the processes that they've gone on? The processes that they've gone on since, 1888, 1886, to the policy of assimilation from the 1960s, where they said that we would be exactly the same as them. You know, all our puppets in federal parliament who are adhering to the, the puppet master who are pulling all the strings, what are they doing for us? You know, our city of Greater Geelong don't even do anything for us. You know, our member for Geelong, Labor, is not doing anything for us. They've washed their hands of us because they believe that we are not important. But I believe that we're important. I believe that each and every one of us is of value in regards to who we are as Aboriginal people, who we are and how we identify and how we reconnect, and how we reconnect for our health and well-being, and how we plant those seeds for our survival mechanisms within a society that doesn't really care for us now because they believe that they've said sorry and they don't have to. I won't go on much longer because, we could sit here for, days on end just kind of having this discussion. Well, we haven't even opened the discussion because I've got Aunt sitting next to me ready to share something with you. So I'm I'm just going to leave it there in regards to, you know, colonisation, decolonisation, how we as a community, how we as Wathaurong Aboriginal community plant our seeds for our community members to re-engage in knowledge and building that knowledge to understand country, understand language, understand law, kinship and ceremony, how we replant our seeds, because I see you, we see you, and we're here for you. You know, and if your workers aren't out there doing the job that they should be doing in regards to supporting you, then you make sure that you let our community organisation know, because everybody needs to be held to account. There you go.
Okay, and so now we have Aunty Helen Brotherton and her daughter Simone coming to talk as well.
Hi, I'm Aunty Helen Brotherton, nee Harrison. I'm a Kurnai woman from Gippsland, Lake Tyers, and I'd just like to acknowledge the Wathaurong people that was today, the land that we're on today, and to respect elders past and present and those emerging. I'd grown up at Lake Tyers on the mission. In the early 60s, my parents were asked to leave by the government, and we went to Ararat, which was a place that we never even knew about. I think my dad knew about it because we're from up that area in Wamba land. And I didn't realise that speaking about what had happened in my life with Mum and Dad, until my daughter started reading the apology and how things had happened, and it's quite emotional, and I didn't realise that we were actually taken from Lake Tyers until I had to think about it. But I'm going to let my daughter talk about that because it's quite sore. It's still there, and I'm trying to heal by, living, sharing my stories with everybody, and I get a lot of strength from doing my basket weaving from my grandmother at Lake Tyers, Thelma Carter. She was a fantastic basket weaver and passed it on to me when I was probably around about 5. And that to me has been the healing process, just sort of doing my work. And I've also been making quandong seeds, which I've given to my daughter as well. I said to her this morning, could she please wear it? Because I'm very proud of what I've done. I'm proud of my daughter. And she had to change her clothes because she had the wrong colour clothes on to wear the quandongs. So I'm going to pass it on to my daughter now. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Simone, obviously Helen's daughter. I'd like to pay my respects to elders, past, present and emerging, especially my mother, Uncle Glenn, Uncle Mick and others that are here present today. I was lucky enough to actually have a stable in my life, my mother and other elders such as Uncle Vince, Uncle Ivan, who from the very beginning helped me actually understand and navigate through life as an Indigenous person that was caught in two worlds, the white world and the Indigenous world. And I made from a very early age, I made the decision. I could have gone either way. It sounds strange, but I know that there's a lot of people out there that are like that. But I've dedicated my whole life in actually educating people. And as my mother said before, even though I had these wonderful elders in my life, I wanted to learn more. So I've always worked in the Indigenous sectors, and one of my major parts has been actually at universities. And as my elders have eloquently already said, that the apology at 2006, I said that this morning, February 11th, 2008, I was actually working at the University of Melbourne with two of the strongest academics, Professor Marcia Langton and Professor Ian Anderson, and we watched the apology. And we all just actually thought the same thing. They're saying that they're going to change, that they're apologising for the injustices that were done in the past, and that they were going to look towards the future, especially those of the stolen generation, which my mother was one of, and along with her 10 siblings, 9 girls, 1 boy. Oh, 10 girls, 1 boy. Sorry, I even get confused with them. And one of my aunties was taken and put into the Abbotsford convent. That has now been changed into a marketplace and a cafe. Yes, they do hold an Indigenous part in there, but that's actually a place where my aunt can't even talk about. My other aunties were brought down here to Gdynia. They were separated. My mother made the extraordinary choice to move down here because 3 of them were put down here at Gdynia, and she made the extraordinary, along with her foster mother, to actually bring all of them back together again. And we're coming back to the apology. Nothing's been done. The disparity, even like within universities, we've actually worked out that it's going to take until 2050 for there to be parity between Indigenous and non-Indigenous of Indigenous people is still so high for non-Indigenous people. None of these have taken place, so we really all should, I suppose, learn about these things and educate other people. I think that's, for me, that's the way to go ahead. And I'm so thankful that I have been a part of the Wathaurong community, and absolutely thank everyone for what they're doing today to bring light to this very important topic. So thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so I would also like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land on which I work and live, the Wathaurong people of the Kulin Nation. Speak up? Oh, sorry. And recognise that their continuing connection to land, water and community. So I'd like to pay my respects to all elders, past and present, and to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people here and also who are watching on the live stream today. I'd really like to thank Uncle Glenn and Aunty Helen and Simone for your very brave and courageous and very insightful talks that you've shared with everybody today. On this day where we remember the apology, and I'd also like to acknowledge too that, that nothing really has been done since then. So my colleague Julia has already outlined how the apology came about as being one of the recommendations regarding the reparations to the stolen generations in the Bringing Them Home report, and we've just been advised that the Victorian Stolen Generations reparations will commence next month. And there has also been an advisory group that's been put together to assist with part of this process. I'm sure there'll be questions from the community about all of this, and I'm sure it'll all be provided as soon as it is made available. I'd also like to say that although these reparations are important and they need to happen, and that they could help with things like transport to visit family, attend sorry business, or to go out onto country and things like that, it's incredibly important to acknowledge that these reparations will not make up for the pain and the suffering, the violation of human rights, the attempted genocide and the separation from family, loss of community, culture and country, and the intergenerational trauma that Aboriginal people have to deal with on a day-to-day basis. So healing is not a quick process, and it will take a lot more than just a bit of money to support people on the healing journeys. So at Wathaurong, myself and Julia have been working hard to design the Bringing Them Home program for 2022, and I'd just like to outline what we hope to provide this year. So we'll be providing group work, workshops, yarning circles, cultural outings, support with research and family tracing, including working with the Koori Heritage Trust Link Up and other agencies who support this work. We can also supply one-on-one counselling support for anybody on their journey, and all of the services will be culturally supported and facilitated. We're currently working on a pamphlet outlining the program for this year, and we would really welcome any questions or suggestions about the program, and please reach out to us. I hope that you can all take away some strength from the speakers today, and please reach out to each other, to family, friends and other support networks if you need to. We realise that today can be very upsetting, and that it can bring up a lot of emotional feelings for many people in the community. So please take care of each other, and thank you.
Thank you. I'd just like to thank our guest speakers for their time and sharing their story and their journey. I want to thank them personally for their guidance for me growing up in this community. You've been my leaders, so thank you. And I just want to...
Thank you, Mick. Thank you. So, okay, so I accept this award on behalf of the... No, humour is a way of dealing with trauma as well.
I'd also just like to say, if you're feeling emotional or if there's any sort of effect that today's event has had on you, please reach out to us. We are more than happy to support you guys. I think that there's going to be some contact details going up on our webpage, on the Facebook page and our Instagram page. So once again, on behalf of Wathaurong, thank you to our guest speakers for sharing their stories, and yeah, we appreciate everything you've done for us. Thank you very much. And please reach out to Julia and Judy from the BTH team.
Yes, definitely. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Signing off.